David.
There it is. Live, Ryan. As we had stated we would be. We always do as we say. We promise. We knew we'd be live eventually.
Yeah, never promise a time, just a time frame.
That's not how it works though. Like it makes you put a time. Like you have to put. Like I can't set like a 7 to 10 range. Like it's like a this time is when you start. I have to set something, Ryan.
You know, David, if I was like Tim Pool, I would clearly have everything else in my life governed and paid for so that it could be ran for me. So I could show up at 7:01 on the dot every time. So, I'm sorry. People.
Ryan has agreed to quarterback the show today. Yes, I had a very, very busy weekend. So Ryan said, I got this. I got this, Dave. I am going to fill your show with content. So Ryan, what have you brought?
See, David. Here's the thing. We here on the program, if you're playing the bingo board at home like I do every week on my little piece of top spec, Dave says that he's keeping all of the money from the program because he does so much. So I figured I would take the opportunity to prove that I don't. I have equal stake in the company, David. This is just a resume builder.
Every cent of today's show will go to Ryan. So Ryan,
every 2 cents.
It's paid. Paid program. We're still paid for our opinion more than most people can say. Ryan, what do we?
Forever. Most people were never paid, David. I'm a fucking 0.0%er. David, it's all dead. It's just the way it is.
What is that? I don't know what that means.
It's dead. Everything's dead.
You can't just say it's dead. What does that mean?
Dead. We woke up and we were just waiting for it. The funeral, Dead internet, David. Can you punch it up on the internet?
Dead.
Mm-hmm. Dead internet on the internet.
I have to Google dead internet.
Yeah, Google dead internet and just find like a term for people playing poker at home. It's the concept is basically that at least 80%. Ooh, I like that screen on Google. You ever notice that Google looks like a pair of glasses? The eyeballs are never mind.
Dead internet.
Mm-hmm. Dead internet theory.
Dead internet theory. You want me to bring this up?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, okay. I can loosely describe it, but it's like the varied numbers. But most people think that the internet is actually mostly dead, right? Like 80% of the internet is actually bot activity and it's mostly hack. They actually say that most of the shit on the internet isn't even seen. Even like all the stuff on Facebook is like a very small segment. You could actually look that up as well, separate after this. But like how much of we actually think that we see a lot of information and we're like, there's just so much information. But in reality, the internet is so deep and vast that it's basically like Hades or like levels of hell in Dante's Inferno, man. There is endless. There's backdoors, and then there's all the hacking. There's all the Smurfs that Snowden talk about. There's Trojan horses. There's the firewalls that protect stuff. And Dave, you're closer to knowing computers, and I know there's people better than us, like some friends of the show and stuff that are super computer dorks, and they can like access your computer from like a AirPod Bluetooth connection on a floppy disk, and
I don't think that's accurate.
You say that. I cannot wait, David, to be proven right on this one.
You find me an AirPod that runs off floppy disks. And
for the people playing at home, if you don't know, your AirPod is actually a mobile microphone. There's actually an option with your AirPods that you could put down an AirPod as long as it's within like that 30-foot range of your Bluetooth or whatever. You can put that down in another room and access it microphone and listen to it with your other microphone. So. Just so you know, those some boys out in the streets getting caught with their girlfriend.
Do you want me to state the
dead internet? Yeah, go.
Stated definite.
Yeah. See what they say. See what the the internet says about the dead internet, David.
This is Wiki, Ryan. The dead internet theory is an online conspiracy theory. Conspiracy that asserts that the internet now consists mainly of bot activity and automatically generated content manipulated by algorithm curation to intentionally manipulate the population and minimize organic human activity. Proponents of the theory believe these bots were created intentionally to help manipulate algorithms and boost search results in order to manipulate consumers. Some proponents of the theory accuse government agencies of using bots to manipulate public perception. The date given for this death is generally around 16 or 17.
All right. See, the only problem is that what did they say? Government.
Yeah, they did mention.
Yeah. If you put what's the title chapter? What's the thing that allows platforms in publishing, David?
Section 230.
Yes, just change that for government, Section 230, and you have a working correct theory, David. Yeah, I'm not saying I adhere to this, but it is interesting to think because there's actually a dude on our page, David. His name is Eric something or whatever, and he always shit talks us and says we live in the basement. And all I think about is like, if this guy's really sitting there waiting to comment on my post, he has nothing better to do with his life. As much as I love the engagement,
I will give him Snopes. Is it Snopes that does the Pinocchio ratings? Is that somebody else? That might be Washington Post. Somebody does Pinocchio ratings. I'll give him like a
fact checking's not even real, David.
I'll give him like, because I think they do like 3 Pinocchios. I'll give him like 1 Pinocchio. I am in a basement, so he's right. It's not my mother's basement, but it is a basement. So you half correct. Yeah, I'm in a basement.
You're right. And the basement I would be in would probably be his mother's basement. So I guess all that ends well, David.
I'm kind of worried I'm going to end up in his basement.
Probably
with a basket full of lotion.
Puts the lotion on the skin.
Buffalo
Would you
Eric.
fuck me, dude? Would you fuck me? Buffalo Eric, that's oh my god, that's so funny. The whole house was just mirrors. He was tucking around his wiener. We are way off. See what happens, David? See, this
Listen,
is
he's got to have a wiener before he can tuck it. He's dickless.
Tuck it. Yeah, all the same. So the dead internet theory, right?
This is going to be an off in the weeds show for everyone. See, let's just.
It's not true. I will round this out with actual like news people.
Oh man, I probably shouldn't do that on camera. That's going to look really bad.
You're on mobile. You're fine.
Slight, just a side note. I feel like when I do quarterback the offense, Ryan, there's a lot of structure. We know where we're going, and right now I feel like I am in the middle of the ocean, and I may go left, I may go right, I might get eaten by a shark. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen. So it feels
dead
very
internet.
Structureless, Ryan.
Well, it's dead, David. The internet is dead. You're actually searching through vast caverns of nothing. You're in the catacombs underneath France, David.
Well, who are these people I'm talking to on the internet?
David, they are bots activity.
Everybody?
It's not real, David. They've been caught all this streaming. I'm not saying that he is. I'm just saying the amount of attention this guy spends to us to always say the same thing. It just is like, this has got to be fake. Now, granted, I'm not everybody, obviously. And this sounds like off the weeds, David, until I relate it back to your real life. And then you'll be sitting at work tomorrow and be like, fuck, Ryan was right.
It's only a conspiracy theory, right?
It's only dead. This is a Ryan theory now, David. Okay, I don't care what the internet says about itself. That's what's weird about it, even saying it's an internet conspiracy on the internet about the dead internet. Do you think the dead internet is going to admit that it's dead even? It's going to tell you it's a theory? I know this is off in the weeds and it's just words. All the same, David. Real life has become already dead. Like, this is why I think the dead internet is like actual thing. You can actually strip away bots and all this other paranoid fantasy stuff. You can this whole thing, because you can actually copy paste that and actually put real things in there and real people and real scenarios, and it still has created a dead internet. The internet is a closed loop, right? And it has created closed loops in life. Prime example, David. It's a very useful tactic. I'll never downplay the internet. It's a useful tactic that's used wrong. Everybody uses it wrong, me included. But you're on Instagram, you see an awesome picture of somebody at a vacation spot, and you're like, holy fuck, this place is great. So you click on it. You're like, oh my God, it's an hour away. You click on it. Oh my God, it's free to get in. So you click on it. Then you have a hyperlink that fucking transports it to your news app. You click that, or your maps app. You click that, you get directions. You figure out, you look at your bank account app, and boop, Siri says you're fine. So you have enough money to go to the place you want to go that you've seen on Instagram. And you go there. You take a picture. Then you get back in your car and you drive all the way home. And the only reason you went there was to get a picture that someone else put on the internet. Right? That sounds silly, right, David? Why? Nobody rational does that, David. No average person is just out there doing what other people do on the internet. All right, maybe you're right. Yo, your neighbor gets a new truck. You follow him on Facebook and Instagram. Gets a picture. Fuck, that's a nice truck. It's got really nice rims, Dave. I'm a big rim guy. Maybe I go get rims the next day. I'm supposed to believe that keeping up with the Joneses didn't exist, right? That's actually like a term that's super old. Well, what does that do on Instagram? We always see in the red pill space, it was always about women They want unrealistic stuff, you know. And that became a closed loop because it always, no matter, because the thing is no matter where you scale, women have unrealistic expectations. Even at the tippy tip top, you're telling me that like Jeff Bezos's wife, right, or like an athlete's wife or whatever, like they want more, right? When in reality, they probably are fine, right? Most people are fine, right, David? Right? In general, healthy people, right? They get fine. This is where I'm going with this, David, because we're seeing it.
I suspect that's true.
Yeah, I would suspect it, unless they're like Stephen Curry's wife, who just wants freaking like attention on her. Like, we care about your husband playing basketball. Maybe come to people with something that's valuable and they like and engage. And if it is reality TV show, great. But like,
well, Steph Curry's wife's a bad example. I mean, he's like 6 foot in a room full of men who are 7 foot.
So the point is, David, is that the internet is dead because it creates dead loops in life. Like, it actually creates dead loops in life. I battle this, David. I like look up how much money I make, and it's not about a money race, but it's like, you know, in some ways, David, I've surpassed the pace of men that are older than me. Do you understand what I mean? Like, I make more, like men in their 50s don't make what I make in my 30s, even in the place I live, even at the same company. Right, Dave? I don't know if you've experienced this. Mm-hmm. It's not braggadocious. It's not that I'm better than people, but we all, in the capitalistic system, you would like to think, right, David, that the harder you work, the more you make. So let's just use that standard, even though I know it's on what you know and not. There's all these aneurysms, these statements.
I don't think that's the correct the term aneurysm.
There's all these statements, David. Bro, the point is like, I don't like get caught up in wanting more. I just realize I'm ambitious. But the thing that I've realized, man, is like, for what has been the premise of the show, David, came as headlines, right? And like, it was basically that we would see something and know that most people don't read past the headline. And you have to read the article, which is why we even pulled up Wikipedia to talk about the thing to begin with, because our headline basically is dead internet. And you're like, why the fuck do I care about dead internet? Because it creates dead loops in real life, and you get wound in a wheel like a hamster in deadness, and it's everything. And that's why I'm referencing endless examples of your life that all we do is sit on a hamster wheel. The prime example is like a mortgage that you pay for 30 years as your money gets less valuable, right, David? And then by the time you go to pay it off, you've already refinanced it 7 times because you had full intentions of replacing the house roof in 10 years, but you can't afford it because you got laid off, or your wife broke her leg, or somebody died, or somebody got stabbed, or you got divorced, and now you got to, you know, like, life gets away from you is the thing we say, right? But this is what I mean, man. We get caught in these dead loops. We got caught in the dead loop with student loan debt, some of us. Go to college, go do things, and college has done great for a lot of people. More you learn, the more you earn. I agree. But where are we seeing the dead loop now, David? Gender studies degrees. Made a dead loop, right, David? That's dead life. That person has $100K in debt, or 80 grand, or 50 grand in debt. Never pay that off. People that fall into the face tattoo scheme, right? That was a trend that young people got caught into. At 18, you feel different than 28. Now you'll never get a job again. And to remove a tattoo is super expensive. And you need the money to get the tattoo removed. So how the fuck created a dead loop in life? And now, this is where it's back to the internet, David. Everything everybody does is always about the internet. All your shopping, your door dashing, right? That's a very realistic one that I would love to know the numbers of how many average American households, like a third of Americans get their clothes and groceries and everything dropped off. So a third of people are using the internet for services like Amazon, right? Like, how many packages does Amazon deliver? So we're using the internet to get our things, right? So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because all the things we see on the internet, we buy from the internet, creating a loop that you're on the hamster wheel of a dead system, because all you're doing is consuming to buy to consume. Literally a dead loop. It's a dead internet loop, even though that's a real thing, David, right? Because you're like, oh, I need this. And you do need new shoes for school. You do need food to get dropped off because you're too busy. I'm not judging it. It's a great system. I'm very useful of it. but it's a dead loop. The internet has created it. And I'll say this further. Prime example, we always talk about big tech censorship through the algorithm, which was based, let's be honest, on the Patriot Act, everybody. This was the big concern about civil liberty violation. It created systems now that have created dead reality. Sounds stupid, but think about it. The algorithm feeds you the things that you see. You're not out actively on Facebook every day searching. 19% of the United States women ship groceries bought online at least once.
That was in 22.
72%.
72% and 23 bought groceries online in the last 90 days. 2024, one study predicted grocery delivery service usage will increase by 56% and grocery curbside or pickup service will increase by 100%.
All right, now here's a dead loop, right, David? Even though it's a real thing. Demand has increased. What's that mean? Oh, we need jobs. Now the jobs you get are driving and dropping off food, David. Is there any real utility and skill set in there other than driving as a skill? No. So we're going to have a bunch of trained people dropping, a bunch of untrained citizens driving around, dropping off food to each other while rich and wealthy and skilled people just keep getting wealthier and skilled. Creating a dead loop for poverty, David. The very systems that we learn through the internet, that make the internet, that build the internet, that make us utilize the internet, then build a dead life reality loop to us from the dead internet itself. And it's only dead because the very algorithm that is feeding you the things that you buy every day comes from a system that is just information gathering. It's just infinitely it's like playing infinite bingo games. And it just keeps feeding you it because it knows what bingo games you like. And it just gets a little bit personalized, little crank wheel of Dave and Ryan little algorithm, and it spoon feeds you your favorite content. And that will be girls clapping their ass or motivation or money or sports cars or food or bodybuilding, sports, bills. Like that's what hashtags are, right, David? Creating a dead loop system because you don't even, this is what I'm saying, you don't realize it. Instagram, actually, this is a prime example. They do a great job when you click more on a lot of those people. The hashtags are buried down in the bottom of the description. And like, in a way, that's like, they're trying, not purposely, but they're basically hiding the way that you search the information, even though it's all based on those hashtags. Once again, creating a dead loop in reality because the thing you're actually seeing is just a cave. It's Plato's cave, just in hashtags. Like it's literally, you're just living in hashtags. And you see the hashtags as Buffalo Bills page, December 1773 page, Ryan's personal face, Dave's face, your wife's face. You just see their technical hashtags, which are just their pictures that say, hey, my family's great. Creating a dead loop. We live a dead life from the dead system of the internet that's created by algorithms that are dead. They're not even living. The only living, basically, and they're dead because the only living system that they get is from dead information. And what I mean by dead information, David, is data that they've received from people using it. Because if they had no inputs, they would never exist. So if we all stop using the information on the internet would be dead already because it's not being utilized, thus killing it.
Right. It says here the dead internet theory goes on to include that Google and other search engines are censoring the web by filtering content that is not desirable by limiting what it is indexed and presented in search results. How is this a conspiracy theory exactly?
Well, that's
a known fact. Are we going
to go further, David? Paid for by the government to do it when it comes to certain political information that they don't like. But look at the Google's a prime example. If you type in a word, go to the bottom. How many pages of Google do you actually sift through before you get information? There's thousands, tens of thousands of Google pages. How come some are prioritized over others? Ad revenue, which is a fucking dead loop system, David. Why? Because it comes from banks and they pay money. What is banking, David, but loans? What are loans, David? A certain percent at a certain time at a certain interest rate for a certain purpose. A dead loop, right, David? Which creates what in reality, David? A dead loop.
The Harris campaign and Google, I'm trying to remember the story exactly, but I can give you a general breakdown because I don't remember the specifics. The Harris campaign was putting ads on Google, and everyone who knows, like for example, if I were to go on here, ready, and I search Google, I'll see if I can pull one up. So the Harris campaign was putting ads on Google. Now, when you search something on Google, everyone knows there's like sponsored ads that come up, right? And it'll literally tell you like this is a sponsored ad. And their sponsored ads were conveniently not showing that it was an ad. So you would search something and it'd be like, ooh, Harris, whatever. And you'd go, oh man. Because normally how Google works is the most popular things kind of rise to the top. Now there's people who pay to get to the top. Those are the ones that have to be sponsored. These weren't being sponsored. So it almost made it appear as if Kamala Harris was maybe more popular than she was, not to mention the fact that Harris was paying to put her name to the top. So the whole thing was that Google conveniently scrubbed the fact that it was an ad.
And why would they do that, David? Because they wanted to paint the perception that this was not paid for and that this opinion was an organic result. And why the fuck does that matter if you don't even care to begin with? Because your subconscious sees everything, and you can look that up in psychology, people. This is an opinion, this is biology. Your mind sees everything. Your consciousness, this is one thing, Elon's talked about this too in a brilliant way, but this is known by mainline science, David. Your consciousness isn't remembering stuff. You actually forget stuff. Like your consciousness is narrowing of information, not gathering of information. That's why you focus, right, David? The idea of focus is what you forget everything else exists, but these very few things are that one specific task, right? That's negating everything else, right? That's removing the things from your brain so that you can hyper focus. Yes, like even we always joke about the conspiracy theory, or it's just Veep, or what was the other one? People familiar with the matter, even though that's basically like hacking or leaks. That's what, or fake information, right? We didn't know. We're like, who the fuck's familiar with the matter? There's no source. You don't have to be a legal source.
Well, they're trying to protect their source, Ryan.
Why leak the information if you got nothing to lose? Shouldn't we be able to talk openly in a free democracy, David? That's why I thought we have an independent press. But what is this doing, creating a dead loop, David? Because where does it go? It just keeps getting cycled into this. It's neuro-linguistic programming. I say it every time because I want to program you to go look up the fucking word, so that when you see before anything, it just said conspiracy theorist. It didn't get through the information to be like facts. Some claim this is a conspiracy theorist based on this. Some claim the conspiracy theory is based. Why doesn't there should be an AI conspiracy? Somebody should make a conspiracy AI that it just makes everything conspiracy. We'll call it Alex. Oh, Alexa, it's too close. Anyways, the point that I guess I'm trying to make here is that like they continually push things to you through the very system that I'm describing to you. And I know this is the case. Dave, I sent you the video. Can you pull it up on your phone so my screen don't go crazy? Yeah. I think I sent you a clip of the guy on Rogan that talked about the election was 90-10 results after they flipped it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could just pull that short up, or if you could send it to yourself, or if you'd have to look it up on YouTube. But it's really worth watching, because this guy, I don't know his full credentials, but we have to get the information so people can stumble across it themselves, because I think they said since 2014 or something, they are the first company that has been watching Google watch us as far as data collection and what they actually do with it. And he said that Google can take a population that is 50-50%. I don't know the size of all these numbers, but a group of people that has a 50-50 deciding vote as far as choosing one person over the other or thing over the other. And through basically psychology and programming and ad revenue and constant bombardment and neuro-linguistic programming and all these other psychological things that they tell you to not worry about, and the dopamine rushes that you get when they see certain colors. The psychology of color is very interesting, David. If you don't know about it, it's very interesting. And they could take that 50-50% population and they could sway it to 90-10, which, to go in our scheme and something we've covered on the program, was the Hunter Biden laptop story. So
it's a lengthy clip, so I don't know if you know.
I need help. I desperately need people's help. So we have spent $7 million building the world's first nationwide monitoring system that is doing to those bastards what they do to us and our kids 24 hours a day. We are surveilling them for the first time. We are finding overwhelming evidence
Can you
that
pause
they
for
are
conspiracy theory?
very deliberately and systematically.
One got to ask yourself a serious question. Why would somebody spend $7 million to do this, David, if it wasn't important?
It's just a conspiracy theory. They're going
It's
all
just-
in to check this conspiracy theory out.
You mean like Mike Liddell did with the election?
Yeah. Seems bold. Seems bold for just a conspiracy theory. These people don't just waste money. Just for the record, these people who go out on these limbs and do this kind of shit, they know they got something before they do it. They're not just Mike Lindell didn't tank his career, his pillow empire with his lumpy pillows. He didn't tank his career to go after election fraud on a whim with no information.
Yeah, that guy was a crackhead. He didn't care about people's opinion long before he got rich, dude. He did not care.
And just keep in mind too, with the election theft stuff, when people tell you that, oh no, he lost in all these court cases, he didn't lose in any court cases, quite frankly. All of them got thrown out conveniently before any of the evidence could be seen. So that's not losing a court case. That's a court case not. That's the court case not happening.
Dave, do you have a JRE podcast number for this guy handy? Just quick. Georgia whistleblower on how search engines are influencing elections. Do you have a JRE number?
I don't, unless it says it in the comments. I don't.
Okay. Yeah, it's from 2201 with Robert Epstein. Epstein?
There you
Isn't
go.
that funny? LOL.
There
Yeah,
you go.
we probably ain't got to watch this whole clip because the first couple minutes are pretty gnarly. But
Messing with us and our elections especially. I personally believe that as of 2012, the free and fair election, at least at the national level, has not existed.
It's just been manipulated.
It's just been manipulated since 2012. I say this in part because I met one of the people on Google's tech team, on Obama's tech team, rather, I should say, which was being run by Eric Schmidt, head of Google at the time. And I talked to him at great length about what the tech team was doing. They had full access to all of Google's shenanigans, all those
wonder
manipulations.
where they got it from, David. I want government agency allowed it to happen.
One member of that team asked by a reporter how many of the 4 points by which Obama won, how many of those points did he get from the tech team? And the guy said, Elon Kriegel, I believe his name is, it was actually quoted. And he said 2 of the points came from us. Now, Obama won by 5 million votes, roughly, and 2 out of 4 points came from the tech team. That's 2.5 million votes. By 2016, I had
Can you pause it, David?
calculated that Google
Yeah.
could shift. And
That's a better return than breaking a water main pipe. Or just
Is
I
it
don't
better?
know.
Is it? Do you think that's better than $50,000 in Facebook ads?
Well, I wonder how Facebook knew that $50,000 in ads could sway X amount of people, David, if they've never done it before. How do they know that $50,000 can sway so many X amount of people if this is the first time it ever happened? That's probably all you actually need is $50,000. That's what's really funny. Which makes me wonder why they spend billions, David.
You know what we should do?
What?
Let me go on Facebook real quick. Hold on. Here, you want to experiment, Ryan?
Yeah.
We'll come back to this. Fuck it. We do it live, Ryan. All right, here's Facebook. Give me. We got this. Your votes. Okay. I think I want to boost this post. You know, I kind of want to. I want this post to see some serious shit here. So let me. Give me your votes. Boost post. Where's my boost? It said boost post. They just don't want me to do it. Those fuckers. Ryan, I'm trying to
David.
advertise. I'm trying to advertise.
You mean you're trying to spend money with
I want to
the
create a fucking ad here.
people.
Like, I'm trying to spend some serious money here. This fucking Facebook is not interested. So there might be a problem with your account. I'm sure there is. You sons of bitches. Oh, here we go. Budget. Let's do a budget here.
What are we budgeting? All right, $5 on.
How do we do this? How do we do this? You know, the thing that's
I
interesting.
see, David. I know. I see what you're doing.
I want to create an ad
Dude,
here.
you are so fucking funny, dude. You're gonna put in $50,000.
Well, I'm just curious because it'll usually. That's a good audience.
It was. It will self-generate. Oh, that's hilarious.
That's a fine. Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
500. All right, now we got to do math. $500 per day will get you 42,000 to 122,000 views. Hold on. We're gonna do something.
So what was the number? $50,000 total. So that would be 100
Yeah.
days up to the election, basically.
So
I'm sorry, 10 days. 500
Yeah.
times 10 would be 50,000.
So we would have to do this ad
100.
my math
You would
right?
have to
100
add
times.
100 times. Yes.
Yeah,
100
we'd
days
have to
before the
do-
election. $500 a day. 100 days before the election.
Okay. This is going to be tricky because people are going to. Okay, this is going to be a little tricky. $50,000 in Russian Facebook ads would at best get 12 million views on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So the assumption would be, in order for it to flip an election, is that every person who saw the ad was like, "Fuck it, I'm voting entirely differently." Because they're
And this
saying
is
they,
off a Facebook page that has roughly 10,000 followers, David. Now, we're not assuming if this was like
well, this I don't
Tim
think the
Pool
ad,
or something who had millions of subscribers, David. If
Yeah.
you were to spend $50,000, it would obviously get a vastly different amount of views as a page like ours that has.
Well, I think
10,000.
the estimation only assumes the amount gathered by spending money.
Which you already have, you mean?
Yes. So whether it's Tim Pool, me, or somebody in Russia,
You're only going to get
$50,000 is-
40
Yeah, that's right. Now Tim Pool might get more. Just
engagement.
yeah, well, he might get more naturally because he has just in general a larger follower. But at best, your money is going to get you 12 million views of the ad, which doesn't mean clicks, which doesn't mean engagement, which doesn't mean blah blah blah. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means at best 12 million people are going to see the ad. So it better be a really fucking good ad if you're
Now,
trying
David-
to sway an election.
Now, you're saying it. What if you spend $500? Can you go in and spend another $500 today, or they don't allow that?
Yeah, I think you can. I think that's just the most you can spend, and that's per day.
You can spend $500 per day, the most.
Yeah.
So I can't go back in here and just keep pumping money into Facebook to get a larger following.
I think that's on this specific ad. I think if you were to spend $500 on this ad, you could probably go in again and spend
Make another
$500
ad.
on another ad. Yeah, and I'm sure there's a limit at some point because I don't think they're just going to let you just rack up an account and then never. It could be who knows what. You know what I mean? Like I can't just go in and say I want to spend $1 million on ads right now.
David, what you're describing is the dead internet, David, and it would just clearly lead to a dead loop in reality, would it not, David?
No, that's a conspiracy theory, right? There it is. At
So
best.
there you go.
Which, by the way, it also breaks it down. It'll say you'll reach 42,000 to 122,000 people. At best, you're going to generate 1.3 to 3.7 thousand replies. Look at that drop off. That's reach versus engagement. Can you believe that fucking drop off? Out of 122,000 people, at best, they're estimating 1,000 people are going to react. Or I'm sorry, 3,000 people are going to react to you.
At best.
At best. So if you're going about trying to sway an election, sending $50,000 towards Facebook, I don't think is probably the best way to go about it.
Right. And maybe Facebook had different things then now than they do then,
Well,
but they didn't say
to
it
be
was
honest with you,
$50,000 a day for whatever. They didn't. So we're
I
just.
think in 16 you probably would have been worse off, right? Isn't that when the Russians swayed the election, right, with their Facebook ads in 16? I bet you would have been. This would have been smaller in 16. Think how much Meta has grown, and it's all tied into Instagram and all this shit now, which it kind of was, but it not the way
Sounds
it
like
is
a
now.
dead loop, David. Sounds like a dead loop if it ties into itself.
50,000
If
of
it's
Facebook ads is not
self-generated,
swaying an
yeah.
election. I'm sorry, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it creates a dead loop. It's a dead loop. I mean, they even tried to use the dead loop to dead loop you.
Let's see what this guy.
It would be toward Hillary Clinton, of course, whom I supported at the time, that Google could shift between 2.6 and 10.4 million votes to Hillary Clinton in that election with no one knowing. She won the popular vote by 2.8 million votes. If you take Google out of that election, the popular vote would have been tied. Couple days after that election, all the leaders in Google get up on stage. This I'm sure you've seen this. It's an amazing video. And they're talking to all of Google's 100,000 employees, and they're one by one, they're going up to the mic and saying, we are never going to let that happen again.
Yeah.
We are never going to let that happen again.
Which is democracy. They're never going to let democracy happen again.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And
so
that's so crazy to be.
That's why we're not a
blatantly and
democracy, Joe
openly talking
Rogan.
about that.
and in 2020, we didn't
As if
have.
it's a virtue.
We already had a pretty big monitoring system. We preserved 1.5 million ephemeral experiences. Our data show that Google shifted at least 6 million votes to Joe Biden, who won the popular vote by about 8 million.
No election theft, though. No signs of it anywhere. How is
And
that not election theft?
If you caught him, he said we have 1.4 million points. That means of data where they caught the search engine. And the reason you catch them, David, is because of back to the dead internet theory, how there's all these systems that you don't actually see behind all these little fancy ass LED screens and all the Smurfs and all the Trojan horses and all the shit behind firewalls, and how hackers can get between all that and all the super smart dorky computer shit that they can break into an iPhone even though it's a Face ID and you need your thumbprint and your firstborn's blood, but they can hack into it with a computer and a cell phone connection. There you go. I don't want to hear about it.
Crazy.
So when Taylor Swift gets up there and says, "Hey, I'm voting for Kamala Harris," David, what do you think that does in this system, in this apparatus that this man is describing?
Certainly less than 50,000 in Facebook ads.
And
How many
funny,
impressions does a Taylor Swift post get? Is it 122,000?
Isn't it interesting, David, that the billionaire is running against the billionaire at that point? Like she's saying, "Hey, I'm going with this person," when people said Kamala ran in that debate that she's middle class and knows what it's like to be you and all this stuff, but the people that are endorsing her that swear the elections are millionaires and billionaires. But you're told to hate. You're told to hate the wealth.
Now remember, okay, just remember everybody. What was that number of
There's
engagement?
actually a website, Dave, that you can type in. I forget what it's called. I just heard it from Coach Greg Adams. He's a guy that rips apart all the fitness YouTubers and if they're on steroids or not. It's absolutely hilarious. But you can look up the Google Analytics of them on a chart and see how they've trended. It's remarkable.
It's in Google itself. It's Google Trends, I think. So for people who don't remember 30 seconds ago when we were doing that Facebook ad, that $500 a day, right, was getting you 3,000 reactions a day, right? Was that the number? At best.
Yeah, at best.
At best. Okay, here's Taylor Swift, right, who just said Kamala Harris is her girl, right? All right. Here's a random post from April 28th. It's not even... It's just like a generic whatever post. It's not even anything crazy. 425,000 reacts. Put that into dollars. If we did the math on that, it's 500 per 3,000. Just think about that. Who's stealing the election with 50,000 in Facebook ads? I'd fucking love to see it.
No one. But Taylor Swift will help.
And let's
Twitter will
go.
help.
Let's talk this approach. if Russia was keen and intent on stealing the election and they thought Facebook was their only hope, would they only spend $50,000?
Well, maybe the exchange rate, David, that's like 5 billion rubles or something, clearly, David.
Maybe the Russians who were trying to steal an election are just dumb and they thought 50,000 was enough. They just didn't do the research, right? Is that the theory we're going with?
It's just deep, David. They did allow Bert Kreischer on a train to go across the entire country and drink with the mafia. So maybe the Russians are.
The $50,000 Russian Facebook thing to me is probably one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. It is the leakiest bucket of theories. It holds no water at all. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. $50,000 from a foreign adversary spent on Facebook is not swaying an election ever. It's not going to do it.
Well, they said enough times, David, you believe it. Because of the dead internet loop.
No, I believe there's a term for that, Ryan.
Neuro-linguistic programming. Clearly, they would never do that through your paid television programming.
You're not gonna outspend Google trying to steal an election.
Google don't even need money. They have more money than countries, David.
Fucking crazy.
Does the United States need money if they have the military? You got to ask yourself the same question. Why does Google doesn't have a military? Or do they, David? If it's an info war, I wonder what kind of soldiers of information do they have?
Bots.
I wonder what sniper.
They would have bots, Ryan. This, I don't know. You convinced me. It doesn't sound like a conspiracy theory. I mean, we know, right? That how the idea that the dead internet theory is a conspiracy theory would be to think that algorithms don't exist.
Well, David, go further. I mean, it's dead life then, because we're being fed dead shit, and then people's whole existence is tied into dead things. Those aren't real people. So NPCs are real. You think you have a real life. You don't. That's scary shit, dude. I get why people just keep going with the NPC life.
It's easier.
Why not? Hey, my pension will be there. I'll just have to work 2 jobs then too.
Fucking, pension's up more than I've ever seen in my life. That's good. So is everything else. I'm
glad the pension, David, that is tied into all the Fortune 500 companies that are making record profits right now, super high. When you have to spend more money to buy the same loaf of bread that was half the price 5 years ago, and how fucking Cheerios are 3 times the prices they are in South Carolina, even though they make them 5 minutes from where I live. But then again, David, I'm just a conspiracy theorist, David. There's no dead-end loops in real life that make you contradict the system that is indeed feeding you the information to believe. Don't go on Rumble. It's just filled with guys that can't make it on YouTube. Whoa. Why can't we make it on YouTube, David?
The why is the important part. Let's talk, Ryan. We've done good job so far, Ryan. We've filled a solid 45 minutes on one topic, for the record. But we haven't yet to talk about something else that happened recently. For those who don't know, there was another assassination attempt.
No, David. Clearly, David. That would be everywhere. That's all anybody would be talking about in the dead loop system.
Another assassination. There was, and by another assassination attempt, maybe I'm blowing it way out of proportion. Maybe Trump was golfing, and there was a man at the golf course hiding in the bushes with a firearm. To me,
like the grassy knoll, David. Like the fucking literally.
Well, it's either
grassy knoll, David. A grassy golf gnome. Are you?
It's either that or the man from Caddyshack trying to get the groundhog. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe we're blowing it out of proportion. Could be Bill Murray. I'm not sure.
Bill fucking Murray. Yeah, where was he found? In the bush, laying prone. Do you remember the DC sniper?
In a bush. And by the way, people have found out that this guy was interviewed by Newsweek Romania for some reason, and I didn't get to watch the whole clip. It's like 10 minutes long, but Just fuck. It's always bizarre shit. Why was the last guy all over like Ukrainian Facebooks and shit? It's just the
Clearly,
craziest.
David. Clearly,
It's a lone.
David.
I guarantee it's a lone gunman. The FBI knew about him.
Right winger, David. That's how he
they
had a gun.
always do. Oh my God! Please tell me this is a real Truth Social post by Donald Trump. Hold on. This is the most glorious thing you could post in response. 0-2. Oh my God. What a fucking legend. 0-2. Jesus
Teflon Don,
Christ.
bro.
Holy fuck. Are you kidding me? This man.
Yo, look. I just talked about the dead internet and how it makes loops in real life. This is it. This is how people are. Like, you can't kill Don, bro. I'm voting for my man.
Jesus
Everybody
Christ.
doubling down, man.
Spike Cohen shared it. He said, I don't care who you are. That's funny. That's 100% Spike Cohen. Spike Cohen is, for those who don't know, not a Donald Trump fan. That's fucking hilarious. Jesus fuck.
Guy's not a real person, dude.
It's just so.
Is it his golf course? His own golf course?
I don't know. Well, they said a golf course in Florida. I would assume so, but I don't know for sure. I didn't. The thing that's really
David,
tipping.
how did the Secret Service allow somebody to get onto the golf course, David?
Well, here's the other thing that people are concerned with and having questions about. This wasn't like a public event on the golf course. It wasn't listed on any public events or anything like this. This was just Donald Trump going to play golf, and somehow somebody knew about it. So, or he goes to the golf course every day with an AK-47 and waits for him. I don't know.
Super lucky, David. You just right place, right. Veep, guys.
Veep. It's all Veep. It's all Veep. Ben Shapiro. He just happened to be there, right place, right time.
It was just like when they assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand, David. He just went to the right place for a sandwich.
This time he was the shooter was taken alive though, so I'd be curious to see.
Yeah,
what
well,
he's gonna have to say.
Clearly, David. Somebody had somebody was very familiar with the matter, David.
What will the Secret Service excuses be for letting someone with no military experience get within shooting distance of a former president? That's the other thing that's curious, man. This isn't John Wick like fucking getting in there. It's like it was some schlub from Pennsylvania and now some guy who was on Romanian Newsweek. These random ass.
You're clearly overreacting. You can walk on that. Just go. You know what I'm going to do tomorrow to prove the media wrong, David? I should actually do this. I'm just going to take a fake firearm with a cleared orange tip, and just walk into
doing this for the record.
And just walk into a golf course, David, and see if they stop me.
Go without a firearm. Without a firearm, just go to the golf course and just fucking stand on one of the tees and see how fucking far you get.
No, Dave, we got to be fucking absurd in the dead loop internet, David, to make dead loop internet reality, real life. Because they're going to say madman with fake gun storms golf fucking dome. Delusional local podcaster.
Ryan Wesley Routh.
Ryan, such a powerful name.
What is the point they're trying to make here? He's not black or trans, and he's not an immigrant. Not a
he's
Democrat.
got American flag on.
Oh, not a Democrat, just like the first shooter, right? He's just a Republican.
Yeah, definitely believe him.
History of mental illness and incidents with firearms. Had an assault rifle anyway. It had an assault rifle anyway. What's the implication there? They think he shouldn't have because he had incidents. Incidents with firearms. What kind of incidents?
I don't know. I wonder if they took his driver's license too.
Were they felonies? Because guess what happens when you have a felony? That's why he didn't say felonies with firearms. He said incidents. Nowhere near Trump. They didn't fire any shots.
I heard there was 2 shots.
Was nowhere near Trump. Was he on the same golf course, hiding in the bushes? Nowhere near Trump. What a ridiculous statement. He was at the same golf course, hiding in bushes. No shots taken because he was shot at.
He only had a firearm, David.
He had one anyway. And it wasn't just a firearm, right? It was an assault rifle. Fucking absurd. This is, I just, fuck, man. That whole post is ridiculous.
Well, is this the new normal? They have a good point about him. Just like Trump was casually golfing.
Yeah. Yeah, this wasn't a public event. Not everybody knew he was going to be there this day. Had to be somebody. Does he go every day? Just happen to stumble in with his firearm at the right time? Nowhere near Trump. Was Trump on the 7th hole and he was on the 6th? What do we mean by nowhere near Trump? How close is too close with a firearm to the president? Let me ask you that.
I don't know, David. I would say, what type of gun do they have? Did they release?
Well, it was an assault rifle, according to the real Thelma Johnson.
All right, let's use their word then. Look up on Google the average effective range of an assault weapon.
I've read an AK-47 style weapon, which I always love when they say that. Because what the fuck does that mean?
Style. Yeah, they're acting like guns are not specific models and calipers. Like things are they're like the most. They're just like vehicles. There's a model, make, and number, and a serial number, and there's a VIN number, and there's no like when you look at them, you could be like, no, this is a blah 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 blah. Everything has a name already. It's just so generic.
An effective range of an AK-47 is around 330 yards.
There you go. So 3 football fields. Nowhere near Trump.
Three football fields. I mean, a good. What's a good drive in golf?
Oh, 200 yards.
Yeah, something like that, right? I think like 300 yards would be or 400 yards. Recreational male golfers average between a 195 and 205. Female golfers average around 148. They're the same, though. They should definitely compete against each other.
Yeah, it should definitely be able to fight in Olympic gold medal sports, David. Clearly, boxing is definitely easier than golfing, David.
The PGA Tour average was 296. So
nowhere near, clearly, David.
It wasn't anywhere near them. I'd love to hear what that means. I would love if you're a Democrat, how comfortable would you feel with me being next to you with an AK-47? If I was 300 yards away, you'd feel okay?
Yo, did you hear that? No. Did you hear how everybody said that if Kamala was shot at, it'd be the first thing in the debate, and it wasn't even referenced? And now we're seeing a second quote. We'll call this We'll call this a Category 1 assassination attempt, David.
Now that you mention it, Ryan, in the debate that we streamed on Monday, they didn't happen to mention the fact Trump was shot at, did they? I'm sorry, not shot at, hit with a bullet.
She said he was shot in the head, David. Clearly shot in the head. It was fake, though. They faked it. 9/11 was real, but Trump faking shot in the head.
Guy sitting right behind Trump died, but they faked the assassination attempt.
Well, they faked the Boston bombing, David. Clearly. Crisis actors only work when a right-winger uses them. For the record, I wouldn't put it past anybody. What's up with Nightwing and Harley Quinn?
It's somebody getting naked, apparently. I don't know.
All right.
Not relevant.
I'm Batman, bro. Everything's relevant. What's this?
I don't...
What's this? Somebody getting hurt?
Is it too soon to say this guy was a CIA asset? Because everything about him screams CIA asset.
I mean, it's not like he's wearing a bulletproof vest, David.
He lives in Hawaii.
Clearly. Like all good psychopaths. So that guy left Hawaii to go to Florida to shoot the president? How did he get a gun from Hawaii? How the fuck did he get a gun from Hawaii, David? He got an assault weapon. He got an assault weapon from Hawaii. Huh?
The fuck is this? I don't know about this. This was his original. Is this really his Facebook?
If the guy's really from Hawaii, how did he get this assault weapon there?
Well, I think it said, but then it said something about North Carolina
Palestine.
too. So
Here we go. Yeah, who knows, dude? We'll never know.
well, that's the sad. We literally will never know because they're not going to.
Well, why, David? You're acting as if the internet's dead, David.
There he is with his proud Ukrainian mask. Not a Democrat though.
Clearly not a Democrat.
Just like the last guy wasn't a Democrat.
Probably quadruple vaccinated.
0-2 is
0-2 is so great, dude.
0-2 is so good.
Fucking A, dude. Undefeated Teflon Don, dude.
The fuck
Hey.
is that? Does she have water jets on her legs?
I don't know. She had jets for legs, dude. Holy shit.
She had like
Yeah,
cannons,
what?
like water cannons on her legs. Is she about to?
Fucking Laura Croft, dude.
That didn't fucking do anything at all. What the fuck was the point of that?
I can swim better. All right,
Dude, I
David.
don't know what my X count is right now, but this is wild. Why are there raccoons and shit? What the fuck is happening?
David, I need you to Google something because we're going to do this and get out of here because I'm sick and tired of everything that I know and love being destroyed. I need you to go to NPR. Google, you can use the dead internet here because this is an amazing loop we're about to go on.
Okay.
I actually sent you the headline. I can pull it up for you for sure. Oh, here it is. Hold on. Here it is.
I think
Eating
I
less beef is a climate solution. Here's why it's hard for some American men.
Wait, eating less meat?
Yeah, eating less beef is a climate solution. Here's why that's hard for some American men.
Here we go. Okay. Climate Solutions Week. There you go. Well, fuck out of here, Flo. All right. Eating less beef is a climate solution. Here's why that's hard for some American men. Jack Dude on a hamburger. Nailed it. Climate change is affecting our food, and our food is affecting the climate. NPR is dedicating a week to stories and conversations about the search for solutions.
Oh, donate. Oh, okay.
No, I'd like not to donate. Sorry, I spent all my money on Facebook ads. NPR. I didn't have any money. I had to get 3,000 reactions, which Taylor Swift gets on a random ass post. 400,000 reactions. I had to spend $500 a day to get it.
Yeah, the first couple paragraphs are bullshit, but this guy is just going through. They're marching along the whole that men eat meat. Like this is like a thing of our culture.
Beef is marketed to men.
Yeah, steaks and hefty burgers. Like what is a man supposed to eat? You know, the certain sense of strength, some forms of masculinity. Ancient cultures thought you would embody the spirit of the animal you ate, right, David? Especially the Greeks. Men and boys see messages all the time about eating beef is a man thing. We've got to see that. Men eat greater amounts of beef than women. Now, Rose and other researchers think this fact that men eat more beef could be an important key in climate solution puzzle.
Well, hold on. We have to eat more beef than women. Why, Ryan?
Why, David? Because we need more food and calorie intake, dude.
We need more protein intake.
Yeah,
because we have higher muscle mass.
Weird.
We eat
clearly,
more
David,
in general than women, Ryan.
David, clearly
burn
they
more
want me
calories.
strong and healthy and capable, David. They want me healthy and strong.
They're really not. They always omit the why. They know the why. They know the reason. They're not going to tell you. They just think it's a happenstance and just more men eat beef.
And just remember, we've also seen them flip on how ultra-processed foods are bad for you and how they're also good for you in the same time at magazine. And also go further, for the people that say that our ancestors were jacked and they ate more red meat is correct, but I also people could argue that they ate less calories because there was less available food. I would also wager that because beef is actually less tasty than like cookies, David, you actually eat less food and get better nutrition because the food you're eating Steak tastes great. Don't get me wrong. My mouth's watering thinking about it. But let's be honest. What's more exciting to like your palate and like your dopamine reward system? Now, I'm a man, David, to go full toxic masculinity. So steak obviously is the way to go. But, you know, your son, your 6-year-old, is going to eat fucking ice cream for dinner if you let him. Right? He's not going to eat broccoli and steak.
You know, I see this and I just think of getting my blood work done per the doctor's request for once yearly blood panel. Triglycerides are high. I don't know. Why don't you eat less red meat? No. I don't really give a shit what the triglycerides are. I'm going to eat as much meat as I desire.
Dude, it's like it's...
Oh, you're perfectly healthy. Everything's perfect, spot on, in check. Triglycerides are high. I should probably eat less red meat. No, I don't think so. I think I'm going to do exactly what I'm doing now.
You said everything's fine, Doc. I wonder why guys don't go to doctors, David. Hey, sir, I know you feel great. You say you have power and strength and you're real explosive, but you should just completely change anything. You know what's interesting, too? They talk about how, you know how they're saying that, like, well, men are told all this. Who was the people that we grew up idolizing, David, were these big, strong jack guys, and what did they all eat? Because they couldn't get protein any other way to sustain their muscle mass, David, was meat.
Well, meat, and then there was always the classic raw eggs.
This is just protein.
Which is
try to eat your body
why
weight
you eat
in
meat.
Protein. Try to eat your body weight in protein every day. It's hard. But instead of fucking doing whatever, you can drink a protein shake that has 50 grams of protein in it. And it only has like 200 calories. You might actually lose weight because you'll be on a caloric deficit.
Wow, that's a crazy theory, right? I've had people this might be going off in the weeds, but I've talked about like how easy it is now, and I understand there's people with actual like health issues where this like doesn't apply, but the average person who's just a normal everyday person, you can so easily regulate your body weight. It's not even funny.
I mean, I have gone, you know, I was thin my whole life, David. It was mostly because we grew up with a little less money and more mouths to feed kind of thing. So it was just like lack of calories. I'm sure if I was the only child and we all had the same resources, I'd be fatter. And I get that, you know, and it also is partly genetic. Some people gain muscle better and hold on to fat worse, and that's fine too. But you can be a healthy weight and still be that. It doesn't mean that you're an unhealthy BMI. And we get so accustomed to just being like, yeah, no, that's just the way it is. If humans were meant to be fat, our ancestors would have been fat, and they weren't. We just know they weren't. There's no way fat people ran 20 miles a day. It doesn't exist.
I talked about this on the show at some point, but in our showroom at work, they run
people
Prices
can barely
Right.
do stairs, and you're telling me that hunter-gatherers weighed extra. They had an unhealthy They might put on a little bit of weight in the winter, right, David? But come spring and summer when you're moving around, like, no, man. Sorry, man. Sorry.
No, they run Prices Right reruns, and like from like the 70s, 80s, honestly, even like the 80s and early 90s, like there's no fat people. It's fucking mind blowing,
dude. Cancer didn't exist, and now young people have turbo cancer. I told people about GMO, David, 10 years ago. They laughed at me, said they're not poisoning us in our food. They literally poison us in our food. And every person I know always talks about it. I was a conspiracy theorist 10 years ago. They're telling you to not eat red meat because they want weak men so that they can run over. They're going to kill you and take your wives and children. And the way they do that is through feminism and schooling. They're not going to literally do that, David. Of course, modern conquest looks much different than the past, David. They'll just turn them into NPCs, David. It has a long history, David. I wonder where.
I don't know who this article is for. That's my question.
Well, it's not for men. Men barely read news, David. This is not a sports article. But the main problem I have with this piece, David, is it's NPR, which is National Public Radio. They get funding from the government to do this. Now, I'm fine with them printing this article as long as they were to print an equal opposite article that weighs all of the things that they're saying and say, well, here's actually all the benefits of red meat. And actually, if you eat this amount of red meat and you eat fruits and vegetables in the equal amounts, you can actually offset the negative effects that they talk about as far as the whatever they can say, whatever they told you. But they also say that there's carcinogenic things in meat after it's not broken down or something, whatever.
Well, surely, Ryan, they do that.
The point that I've heard is that you can offset that with fruits and vegetables, which is something that I actually advertise very personally, that I eat fruit. I mostly eat meat, fruit, vegetables, cheese, and I do consume carbohydrates, but it is lower on my.
Here's me searching NPR for red meat. Ready?
Mhm.
Too much red meat is linked to a 50% increase in type 2 diabetes. Maybe the next one's better. CDC warns about red meat allergies caused by tick bites.
I wonder if they genetically modified the ticks, David.
Many nutritionists say, well, they created the ticks. Many nutritionists say their advice about red meat remains unchanged. No need to cut back on red meat. Controversial new guidelines lead to outrage. Red meat
The
allergies
Cancer
by tick
Society,
bites.
David, clearly the big giant apparatus that is cancer, that everybody, 1 in 4 people will get cancer. That doesn't sound like a big money grab if we can drain 1 in 4 people's bank accounts for the rest of their life, David, and just have lifelong permanent victims on a big pharma wheel. Well, I eat pharmaceuticals that were based on organic compounds to begin with, but those very companies bought the pharmaceutical rights to those very drugs that they grow in a fucking warehouse and then crush into a pill and sell you. And then when your dad's addicted to them, they can throw him in prison and ruin his whole life, David. Those people.
Here you go. World Health Organization report links red processed meats to cancer.
See how it's processed. It's not that it's
Processed.
the meat.
It's the processing. It's not the meat. It's the processing.
All of our meat is processed, David. They just shut down that Boar's Head factory that had the poison outbreak.
Yeah. You had something.
If I'm not mistaken, that is a Chinese company. Just so you know. Nothing for nothing. It's owned by Chinese. Diabetes risk, bacon and red meat.
Heart risk goes beyond the fat. Oh, it's not. Here's 13. 2013. Red meat's bad for you, not fat. Not being fat isn't bad for you. It's the red meat.
Well, I wonder if they mean fat as far as like fat in food, like saturated fats or processed fats, or however they caloric fat. But yeah, all the same. I mean, fat is healthy for you as long as you, once again, you can offset red meat with fruits and vegetables. What they're not telling you is that most Americans just eat a cheeseburger every day. But if you eat a chicken breast with fucking broccoli and an apple, and if you do that every day, you'll be fine. I guarantee it. You don't even need bread, dude. You don't need bread. It's a lie. It's a fucking lie. Wonder Bread. You know why it's called Wonder, David? Because they wonder why they could call it bread. It's made out of chemicals. There was commercials about it.
We did the ad about, or the, I think this was on Headlines. The thing about Subway, they had to in like Ireland or something, they're not allowed to call the bread bread.
They had to call it a pastry because the sugar content, once it digests in your bloodstream, is actually more sugar than it is anything calorically related to a carbohydrate.
So fucking crazy.
Dude, so yeah, this is the all-encompassing. They need you dumb. And the reason they attack your testosterone, people, with this red meat thing is so that you don't have focus and clarity of mind to see through all the lies that they push, like the dead internet makes. Dude, UFC in the Sphere is gnarly, dude.
Dude, the Sphere is like one of the craziest fucking things ever. Like, dude, look at that.
Wow, dude. Just don't make sense, dude. Russell Brand is actually my spirit animal, bro. I truly like. Yeah, David. So that's what I got, and then I'm just gonna get out of here with one thing.
Good question.
Oh. Sorry. This is that guy. This is a clip from that like 10-minute. He's not speaking though.
This conflict is definitely black. That's why I'm here. To me, you know, a lot of the other conflicts are gray, but this conflict is definitely black and white. This is about good versus evil. This is a storybook, you know, any movie we've ever watched. This is definitely evil against good. I mean, we're battling a situation here where, you know, the Ukrainians and the rest of the world are caring and kind and generous and unselfish and take care of one another. And it's
The
just
dude
a
asked for $1
matter
trillion
of-
of my money. Go fuck yourself about being unselfish. They asked for $1 trillion of money in the People's House of America because our elected officials couldn't negotiate a deal, to put it loosely. But
Surely-
that bastard came
surely
here
that
and told
guy-
me that my sons and my daughters of my country and our country have to go die for a foreign war. Even though we pay for NATO, we pay for the military, that is the entire world. We're America's police. That's what we do. So, and then we got to keep doing this. Okay. I'll say this, Dave, and then we'll get out of here. I know we don't get personal about you all the time, but that picture that I sent you, and I told you that that you've been blessed. I just want to let you know, man, that I'm very happy for you, and that is beautiful. And you're a great man, and all men, especially your son, is very lucky to know you and to strive to be like you. You know, your woman is amazing. Her words were great, but I actually cried when I saw that, man. And you know, for what it's worth, man, I'm proud of you. You know, I know where you started and where you are, and just the way you're going. And dude, you got a lot. You're just you're a good man, Dave. And it's just beautiful to see. I'm glad that I can just be a part of it. Outside the podcast even, man, you know, but I love that we can just come in here every week. We do our thing. We're here for each other. We're here all week for each other. You know, we open up to each other in different ways that we don't actually show on the program, you know, but a lot of that shit behind the scenes comes off on the camera the way it does. But, you know, dude, like, you know, I know you want to kind of bring this up about how parenting is like the best thing that ever happened to you, you know, and just,
Yeah, well, listen, this is similar, and I appreciate that for sure, dude. This is similar to the red meat thing that we were just talking about. Like, why don't they want people to eat red meat? Well, why don't they want people to have children? And I can explain that. For anyone watching who is a father or a mother, you know, the second your child was born, your life changed tremendously. And with that, the way you look at life and the way you look at yourself and the way that you operate changed 100%. And the second that he was born, like the way I operated, the way I mentally looked at things, everything completely changed immediately. It was the craziest thing.
for the
And-
record, David, that's like a biological thing too.
Yes.
Yeah,
100%.
it triggers. Actually, there's a part of your brain that opens up just like what you're describing.
Yeah. This isn't an anomaly to me. This is like, I'm saying, like, for anyone who hasn't had a child yet, just so you know, and people who are watching who have had children, they know this is what happens. Like, this is a thing that happens.
It's not to take away from what you're saying. It's actually just to add to it that there's just like, to Jordan Peterson, like there's a hidden potential of you that can't be accessed until you open that door.
Yes.
It just
And
happens to be a person.
It's crazy that it happens, but let me tell you what happens.
Mhm.
Your outlook on life completely changes because for the first time you're truly, and like some people might not think they operate this way, but I promise you do until you have a child. You truly are operating in a way that you're trying to better somebody else's life for the first time in your life. Even if you think like, oh, I donate money because, you know, I'm at the checkout and I push the extra dollar because I want somebody to get fed. That's fine. This is different. You literally change the way you function because you are trying to improve somebody else's life. And what does that mean? That means you work harder, which means you're more productive. You're more driven. You're driven to more protection. You become way more protective of things. You can be protective of your spouse, but you're differently protective of your children. And Dennis Moore, I blame the parents. Don't know what that means. Feel free to comment more.
Maybe he means like parents pushing it onto their children to not have kids because the world's a fucked up place. And I say that because I was told that. And to go back to Jordan Peterson would say the ultimate form of faith is actually having children because you're banking that tomorrow and the future will be greater than it is today. And that you are putting the work forward, David, to what you're describing to make it a better place for that person. And it rubs off in all those little ways that you're describing.
Yeah, he just
Like
said it's
setting your
always-
house up, being intentional, like being on time for things, teaching them responsibility and respect and scheduling and diligence and working hard because it does work. And
Yeah, it's always the Bible says the world will wax worse and worse.
mm. Yeah, I think that's because there's a lack of children. There's a lack of people. The birth decline rate has been seen, and we're being told that don't worry about it, and AI robots, and it's too expensive to live. And
Here's the bottom line.
it's an interesting captive.
Yeah, here's the bottom line. If you're trying to produce a world of good little slaves, you're not going to produce a world of parents to children. Because the last thing you're going to do is allow yourself and your child to be just taken in as a good little slave. They want weak, childless men and weak women. That may be contrary to what people think, because people think that Republicans are strong men, but they just want women to be in the kitchen. Republicans and private individuals and people who just believe in liberty and things like this, they also want strong women. We just don't want feminism. They're very different things. We still want strong women.
I just moved a stove up a flight of stairs with a fit chick today. Super hot. Just saying.
But ultimately, if you're trying to enslave society, as we believe the globalists are, the last thing you're looking for is strong men who have children and have more at stake than others. So, yeah, at the end of the day, you want to eat red meat. You want to have lots of children. You want to not
Open
get
a
replaced
business.
by Haitians who eat dogs. You want
They're
to have
eating
things
the dogs.
to strive for.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Somebody remixed that into a song. Hilarious. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're.
Lots of
Yeah,
the world
Dave.
is in negative population growth. China, Russia, Japan, Germany, most of Europe, and the U.S. minus the migrants. Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
And then that's
Yeah.
part of it too. They want these countries to be overrun with migrants, and you can't do it
Yes.
if
Why
white
do they
families
want
are
it
having
overrun
tons of
with
children.
migrants, David? Because then they can sabotage the morals, and instead of America slowly falling morality and like the culture falling behind what the people want, if they just import and basically replace the population, the culture will shift faster, will create more instability, will create infighting, will create the very thing we're seeing, which is the
It's a-
fracturing of the values that bond us together, which is freedom, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness.
It's a classic
Rule of
divide
law.
and conquer.
Hegelian dialectic, David. It's amazing all these things that we keep seeing are repeated. It's almost like they tell you to not read the Bible for a certain reason as well.
I gotta get a Bible.
Because religion
I really
is
do.
dumb. Yeah.
Ryan, I've
Religion's
decided
dumb
I'm
and God is-
putting a Bible up here.
You got to. It's one of the founding documents of this country, whether or not people want to admit it or not. There's a reason there's 10 Bill of Rights, David, and there's 10 Hammurabi codes, and there's 10 commandments, David, and you have 10 toes and fingers. It's almost
Lose
as
your
if this
culture. It's the old Mao trick. Yeah, 100%.
Political power comes out of the end of the gun, David, and they only want one person to have a gun, and it is the elites, David. As always, Dave Ryan, December 1773. Tune in on Rumble for the greatest podcast in all of human history, because we are here being one of the very few people to battle the artificial intelligence of the future, David, that are trying to take our jobs, David. These damn fuck the immigrants. I'm more worried about computer programming broadcasters that are there to brainwash you. I'd rather do it myself.
Hey,
As always, David.
The Dennis Moore. Join us next week. Hit the chat up. We're usually 8, sometimes 9, but on Sundays we're going to try to be more. Who knows? We'll try to be more frequent. But join us next week. We'll chat a little bit more with you and everybody else. Make sure you follow the program, like the show, share the show, do all the things. Comment on the program. Do all of this stuff. Everything helps. Everything pushes that algorithm that everyone thinks is a conspiracy theory along. AI is killing YouTube. Good.
AI is not killing YouTube. Where do you think the AI gets all their information from? Do you know who owns YouTube, right? It's Google. So we're...
Well, surely, Ryan, Google doesn't have their own AI.
David, what do you think the search engine is, David?
Do
you think that thing answers your question like it does, like you're looking through a phone book? Because that's not how that works.
It
They
makes
actually
YouTube
now
suck
show.
more. Is
Okay. I know what you mean now. Sorry, bro. My bad. Yeah. You're right. I guess you're right. I guess I just get too damn cynical. I don't trust these bastards. This is why you gotta we
You
always
should.
told your privacy doesn't matter and you got nothing to hide, but then they make the algorithm that make you buy the dead end products that create a dead end life, and you just make money to spend it on their system that they told you to buy. And then to go further, I know we're on here, but I'm riding your dopamine receptors just like they do, because they employ people that understand biology, that literally know how to zap dopamine at micro doses. And they make it so bad that you get so addicted that if you don't look at the screen and you don't get that dopamine, you feel like you're missing out on the whole very world. And the whole very world that you're missing out on is nothing but dead end loops and hashtags. So as always, David, I will be here next week with you, the greatest podcast in human history, dissecting the future to save all of humanity. As always, David, I appreciate you most for your time. I'll see everybody later.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah, show up next week. I always appreciate the chats. I think the more the merrier. But Mike's usually there. We can get him on some chats, get you on some chats, get a few more people on some chat. Listen, if we could do, I would do a show 10 hours long and just read chats. I literally would. I wouldn't care. I would sit here for 10 hours and just read chats and talk to you guys. Ryan would do the same thing. That's literally. I wish one day I hope one day we grow to a point where the show is literally, I'm sitting here bullshitting with all of you, just reading chats. I would do a show every week like that. It'd be great. It'd be excellent. Make sure you catch our live election coverage too. We're gonna be streaming that as long as Rumble exists while we do that. But I seriously, I don't know, Brian. Maybe I'm speaking for you, but would you just sit here and bullshit with the people and read some chats, man? It's the people's chat.
Dave, I will stream until the end of time, till I'm dragged away by the very artificial intelligence that will replace me. Because look, I take full pride in being the god of the thing that will destroy society. They get all their ideas from us and from me and from all the, like I said, let's make the AI conspiracy bot so we can so Trump doesn't have, once again, Trump, I forgot my job resume. Trump, employ me. I'll walk the fucking golf course. I don't know what is so hard about this. I really don't. I'll do it for free. You know what? Just give me enough money to cover the day that I got to take off from work. Just pay for my daily wages. I don't even want to raise. I'll do it as an American citizen. This is bullshit. I'm sick and tired. I had something else, David, but I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, 9/11. Oh, and then Tua.
So we're not out of here.
Yeah, no, 9/11. I literally, for all those people that say never forget, I'm one of them. I literally forgot it was 9/11 until 9:30 at night that day. And then I got pissed off and I cried because there's people walking around that are being told the linguistic programming with a dead end. Dave.
Ryan, you were so good at that term for a while. Come on, get it back. Neuro-linguistic programming.
Neuro-linguistic programming.
I think you called it hyperlinguistic programming the first time you said it.
Hyperlinguistic. That's even fucking better. That's what the AI is doing, David. They're hyper transposing. Anyways, through osmosis, David, I will reverse it. But
MSN is full of bots. That's the dead internet theory. Did you watch the first part of our program? Come on. Now.
Yeah, it's literally 43 minutes.
Go back, watch the whole thing.
Look, I know people say this on the internet, but what I described to you was something that you will not find on any other program that you can go look. Alex Jones didn't say that. Okay? Tim Pool's not saying it. Ben Shapiro's not saying it. Nobody debated. I'm not bragging, David. Nobody's just put all this shit together and be like, this is what's happening. Because basically, if I die today, you could just watch this episode and wouldn't need anything else because they need you to tune in every week. I don't need you to tune in every week. The opposite is true, Dave. We're actually encouraging people to turn off the fucking television and go save their family, right? The idea was that we would get viewers and then lose the same viewers and get new viewers and lose those viewers because they're progressing in their life. Or they find us entertaining and they tune in because they like watching a madman rant on public, and then they're going to watch my public execution, and everything I've ever said, Dave, will be dragged across the very system that I'm told isn't there. And there's an algorithm just waiting with your whole legal file to persecute you with a push of a button, David. So, yeah, Tua.
He says they're all feds anyway.
Well,
they have portals, right? We talked about that.
Yeah, are you a new listener? Is this guy a new viewer?
I don't know. I haven't seen him on the chat before, but he might have watched before. Maybe he just finally built the courage up to chat.
Well, I am intimidating, David.
honestly, live chats it's the new social media. It really is. People are not fully engaging with their audience, and honestly, it bothers me.
It makes
really
you
does.
uncancelable as well because you're actually
Yeah.
directly engaging with them, and then it will create a living loop because you're directly influencing people and providing loop back
Well-
as they provide loop back to you. It will
Well, hold
grow
on,
the loop,
Ryan.
not kill one.
To quote you, take it further. It makes it personal. If you're live chatting with Ben Shapiro every week, right, and he's commenting back, and you're like, man, this Ben Shapiro guy is kind of cool, and then Ben Shapiro's program goes away, you're like, what the fuck? That was my buddy.
lost
That was my buddy. That was my buddy Ben. You just took him off the air. It's
Yep.
more
You
personal.
watch the guy for years and years. You almost know, like, you know, his wife. Like, oh, he had a kid. That's so cool, man. I noticed when he became a dad, he kind of changed here. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what's nice about us getting personal too. It's not always it's not all business. He says he's a new follower.
Yes. New
Ben,
follower.
he is a Fed. You mean Ben Shapiro? That is glorious.
Jones is a Fed. See, I wouldn't doubt that. But look. You would think he would have to be a Fed to be on air after this long. I will tell you the reason I don't believe it is because I caught Alex literally before the Sandy Hook.
Yeah, but that's playing the long game if he's a Fed. To be honest, I'm not saying it's impossible.
Bankrupt himself.
I'm not saying it's impossible. They could do it. That's some serious 4D chess, right? But that'd be really playing the long game. This is a guy who was on air long enough to predict 9/11, and he was on 10 years before that. You know what I mean? Like he's really been around. He was on public radio in like the 90s. Like this guy has been there. So if he's a Fed, man, they really
Look, here's the other thing too. The reason I don't think he's a Fed, I mean, not saying that he couldn't be switched. The thing is Alex was so out there with his opinion and it was so crazy. It didn't matter that he was right until it became too big to ignore. That's the problem. Like the things that we see, honestly, when people are like, oh, he's a Fed, the reason you think that is because you think he gets unexpected growth without work or something. What, is this guy saying something?
Yeah, he's a chatter. I was in Texas. He ratted out the micro broadcaster?
I used to hear him in their caps.
Caps. What do you think?
I mean, maybe I'm not.
Are you
Look,
like,
I'm not.
you like
I'm not
17?
just-
You saying it's cap, or you mean you put that in caps? No cap.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, at least I don't know him personally, but I mean, I haven't watched Alex since the 2016 election because, you know, I've come on here and told you guys, and then we did our own program. So I don't watch other political podcasters. I don't even follow politics besides the news that Dave and I discuss and everything. We talk about this every week. We come here and make our own program. I don't care what's going outside. We care about what's going on inside here in our newsroom, basically. But as far as like following, but I've watched the program change. But I caught Alex before the whole, because Sandy Hook is really like the thing that brought him down. But he was so out there and so unapologetic and so crazy, but shit became too true to ignore. It was like it got too big by default that you couldn't not look at it, which makes me think it's the opposite of being a Fed, because you would think that the Fed, like, I'm not saying that they don't plan for it to look that way. Like, they're very smart. Like, the guy that looks homeless on the street corner is actually a police officer that makes $1 million a year. I know that shit happens. I know they infiltrate drug dealers that look like crackheads and they're actually not. And they spent 6 hours in special effects makeup before that day. I know that shit happens. That's fine. But, I mean, we're talking rattling political opposition. I don't know.
I don't know.
Because Alex always talked about, like, the way that you protect yourself is you speak out.
Are you still in Texas? That would put you, what, 2 hours behind? I don't know. I think they're like 2 hours behind. It
When
might
Alex
be.
Jones
Texas
left
has
Texas-
2 time zones, though, doesn't it?
Texas market, all the micro broadcasters that carried his channel, they rated them right after he left. Nope, not in Texas. But I wouldn't doubt that, you know.
I don't know. It's interesting to me. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say that before about Alex Jones.
But I also don't understand
Maybe.
this thing that we build, you know, the Feds build up themselves to raid themselves, to destroy themselves. It's like, I know maybe this is like the loose end thing that they all kind of kill each other, like in The Departed, so that nobody can talk about other people. I guess I get that. And it would also, this is kind of like the Boomhauer thing. Boomhauer fucked the King of the Hill
King
thing.
of the Hill?
Yeah, Boomhauer
What's going on,
fucked.
man?
No,
What's
yeah,
going
yeah.
on with that?
Boomhauer's fucking not Boomhauer. Dale Gribble's wife is getting fucked by John Redcorn, and his kid is not his. like Dale Gribble can't see the very conspiracy in front of him, even though he believes in every conspiracy under the sun. You know, right? Like, think about it. Like, the guy that believes in conspiracy theory doesn't think his wife cheated on him when his kid, he thinks his son is his son, when really he literally clearly looks like John Redcorn.
You ever hear of Joe McNeil? The name sounds familiar.
But yeah, I guess it would make sense that the biggest conspiracy theorist in the world would actually be in himself a conspiracy and make him an enigma of himself.
Why does
Be
that name
very
sound familiar? Joe McNeil.
micro effect. What about, is there a macro effect?
Retired Army general? That's not the guy I was thinking. I feel like I've heard that name, but now I don't know why.
Micro effect feels like a genre of porn, David. No?
Is he a top 50 golf instructor? Was he on the golf course today?
Maybe he's one of the Nobel Peace Prize winning. He used to sell pirate radio channels.
Oh, okay.
Where's the relevance here? Just
Why
what's the relevance? Not to be like this, but what's the relevance?
Equipment. He used to sell equipment to. See, why does that name sound familiar to me though? Was he in a story that I've read before or something? See, the thing, you're gonna have to really refresh my memory because my brain really kind of sucks. Like Ryan has a very good like photographic memory. My brain does this thing where it remembers very small bits and pieces, but none of the context surrounding it. So someone else just brings something up. I'm like, yeah, I've heard that before, but I don't know why. He threatened me and knew what kind of car I drove.
So this is a personal guy?
But he used to sell pirate radio channels. But he threatened you. He called me on the phone. I feel this is
oh my God, I just got goosebumps, bro. That's creepy.
He never had my number.
I just got goosebumps again.
What the fuck? Where is
That's
this
creepy.
going? This is kind of like never.
I said calm down. Dennis Moore, do we know you personally, or your friend, like a personal friend, or you just hear like you found us on the internet?
I don't know a Dennis Moore. I mean, it could be like a stage, whatever.
Yeah,
Not
I mean,
a
I
stage
am.
name, but like
I am Wallace Wayne, David,
right. Yeah, I wouldn't know who the fuck Wallace Speaks is in real life.
the guy that's speaking, David. Clearly,
Well, I know that now, but I'm saying.
I said, come down and beat me up. See, this sounds like a friend I know.
You told him to fucking catch these hands.
I wonder if this is my buddy.
I don't know, but I'm telling you, this could be the show. I would do this every week. I'll wait. That's fine. We got people watching your story right now. They're all over this. Who the fuck is Joe McNeil and why is he trying to fucking
Yo,
catch
yeah,
some
fuck
hands?
Joe McNeil. Tell him to come down where I live.
Fuck that guy. Hashtag fuck Joe McNeil.
I
You were
was
ruining his show. Oh, so he had his own show too.
And you called in and pissed him off? Dude, this is getting interesting.
What the fuck is this lore that we're getting a part of? We're gonna have to make a documentary on this. I want all the names, all the addresses. I want to film this.
How do I know this guy's not a Russian bot? I was in my chat, in his chat,
Making jokes. Okay, I could see that. You're a chatty
okay.
guy.
So he called you after me. Oh my God. I wonder if he got like your IP address or something, right?
How
like,
the fuck would he get your info? Like, I can't, like right now, as the producer of the show, Ryan, I couldn't click your name and figure all your information out and then call you and be like, oh, you drive a fucking Toyota Camry. I have no idea. I just know you're the Dennis Moore on Rumble. That's all I know. Just like Buff Mike. Ryan knows the guy. I don't even know who Buff Mike is. He knew the make and model of the car I drove. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out like where this. Obviously, you're still alive, so he didn't fight you and win. Did he fight you and lose? Brian, you sound like you're in a waiting room right now at a doctor's office.
Yeah, might as well be. Jesus Christ. He didn't scare me. Well, I would be
Hold
scared
on.
over the
Hold
phone.
on. Hold on. I need to know what the point of the story is, though.
Yeah, like where's this going? This
Where
guy,
is this going? You
does
just
this
said
guy
that
have
Joe.
like a legit follow? Look this
You
asshole
just said.
up.
You just said, do you know Joe McNeil? He was just trying to scare me. That's fine, but like, you're speaking in like code right now. Joe McNeil.
Don't trust these people. I don't trust
Joe?
any of these. These people know exactly what they're doing. Look, I fully expected. The UK said they're going to take me to prison if they don't like me. Right, David?
Joe
Was that
McNeil podcast, maybe?
Don't trust these people is moral of the story. Oh, you mean like people in the chats? Is that what you're saying? Because that would
No,
be
I think he
fucked up.
means. I think he means like going back to the Alex Jones thing. Like, don't trust the.
I understand.
I mean, I get where you're going with that. I think that story has more potential than you gave it, though. To be honest with you, like I want information.
Yeah, dude.
And I
get
can-
better
and I
at
can-
telling stories.
I can anecdotally counter your story too. Like you can't do trust these people. Like me and Ryan. I know me and Ryan personally. Like we're pretty great guys.
As long as I've been in the patriot movement, I've heard about what you're describing, which is called astroturfing and fake patriotism. It's always, I was always told during every gun rally I went to and every rally I've ever went politically to pick up garbage or do anything other than destroying lawns, David. I normally was very respectful when I was redressing a grievance of my
Oh,
government.
you must have caused millions of dollars of property damage on that lawn, Ryan.
Dude, leaving the grass seat was single-handedly one of the funniest days of my life. It's just so like, even though it didn't matter because they fucking are assholes, it's just like the idea that we like trolled them in real life. Yeah, I understand. No, I understand that, bro. Thank you for like all your contributions here. This is very very fun and cool to just engage, obviously. But yeah, I mean, dude, look, I'll tell you, I'm not a Fed. I would love to say that I am, and I'm working double digits. I would love to think that I'm Batman, bro, but I could barely keep a job and an apartment. So
Well, we're not feds because remember we're paid by Russians as we discussed
clearly,
last week.
clearly, David. Tim Pool. I'm still waiting for my payout from Tim Pool, David.
Yeah,
so
come
if
on.
Google could get on
Tenet-
that for me.
Tenet Media, where's my check? You guys said if I said
Fuck
good
it.
things about Russians, I'd get money. Where the fuck is it?
Yeah, I was just like showing you guys how your $50,000 were spent. What's wrong with that? Dude, that's such a funny way of like showing their bullshit. Nobody thought to do that till now. Interesting. I don't know. I'm out of here. Dave Ryan, December 1773. Catch us on Rumble for the greatest podcast in all of human history. As always, David, I appreciate you most for your time. And I will see everybody later. And thanks for the chat. Like, comment, subscribe. If you like the video, share the video. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, no Tim Pool beanies on this show. If the Dennis Moore and all of you watching and all the people who normally watch, come back.
Tim
next
Pool
week.
looks like a Fed. I have fucking told you people this entire time. Do not trust that fence sitting prick. Oh no, don't believe me. I just sit on the fence. I'm just buying chickens, super fence sitter over here. Just run
Ryan,
a business.
you're making it really awkward for when we get invited onto Tim Pool's show. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna get invited just so I can
They're gonna
debate him.
We're
Maybe he'll delete the video. Like, hey, look, I didn't want it to get pulled or anything, and I'm super freedom oriented, so I'm gonna self-censor and pull the video before I release it because I don't want to get in trouble.
We're literally gonna get invited on, and then he's just gonna play 10 minutes of Ryan roasting him before he invites us. It's like, oh, by the way, this is those two guys.
Fuck that guy. You know what? And you know what? That will be the thing. Maybe that will be the thing that revives his dead political career after he tried lying to you and just say that he's sitting on the fence. The only way he's sitting on the fence is to have that fence post shoved up his ass. Okay. I hate that guy. I hate Ben Shapiro. You talk about frauds. Those people boil my damn blood because we do it live here. Dave Ryan, December 1773. I'll catch you guys later. I'm out.
Thanks, everyone.
Later.
See you
Bye
next
bye.
week.
Kiss, kiss.
Hold
Well,
on, I
love
got
long
two.
time.
Screens.
Trump.
It's throwing me off.
Look,
It's the
and also,
we're back.
Look, if I gotta say
Oh.
this again, if there's one more Trump assassination attempt, I'm fucking becoming the Punisher. I don't know what else we do anymore, David. Political violence has to fucking end. I'll catch you guys later.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.